midwife. I'm from San Diego originally. My parents were both born in San Diego. I'm very much a San Diegan. My grandparents were here, so my grandparents and great-grandparents were also born in San Diego. So as far as San Diego food history, I get to hear a lot about Mission Valley, when there were cows, and not just cows, but Japanese dairy farmers who were removed in the 1940s and then became non-Japanese dairy farmers in a really remarkable land grab, and then eventually became Mission Valley, and all the other aspects of food and agriculture around San Diego I've kind of grown up hearing about. I currently am a midwife with a home birth and birth center practice in Chula Vista, and I have got some slightly out-of-date brochures with a rewritten phone number on them because we just opened the birth center in February in Chula Vista. We specifically chose Chula Vista for similar reasons of accessibility to a lot of things we're talking about in food justice today, that just like Amy couldn't find milk in City Heights, you can't find anyone who will support a natural birth or breastfeeding in the South Bay. So that's why we chose to place ourselves in the South Bay, and my partner midwife lives in Chula Vista as well. I live closer to City Heights myself. So today I was going to talk about, and that's my contact info up there if anybody is interested. I didn't print out any handouts for a similar reason of not killing trees. So if there's any information or handouts or facts or anything that you want of anything that I refer to, you can either email me or I can just tell you off the top of my head and you can write it down and save some trees that way too. And since we are so intimately together here, I think that it might be helpful to just kind of introduce all of you, or if you would all introduce yourselves just really briefly, and what brings you to this conversation, and then we can kind of tailor it more specifically to where people are. So Amy kind of introduced herself already, so maybe we could start.
My name is Dawn Miller, and I'm a high school teacher with the Juvenile Court Community Schools, and I teach at Lindsay Community School, which is a school for pregnant and parenting teen girls, and I've been there for about 13 years. So the girls are kind of coming in and out of incarceration and what have you in various situations, but so I'm very interested in this topic, so we'll take it back to the question.
Where is it?
It's in downtown.
Hi, my name's Robin, and I market herbal foods, and I counsel a lot of people about how food heals the body, and so many people don't know anything. And so it's time to turn the situation around, and I work with a lot of parents and families, and so I just wanted to hear the discussion.
I'm Rachel Adams Gonzalez. This is David, and he's a month old. And like I said, I think you guys were in here that Sarah attended our birth at Best Start. And we're just trying to inform ourselves as much as possible on how we're going to transition into eating more solid foods. And I mean, we're obviously trying to focus on breastfeeding right now, and he's an amazing latcher, luckily. But yeah, we're just wanting to see what else we can learn.
And I'm her husband, Frank, and I'm just here trying to learn as well.
I'm Liz, and this is Claire, and this has been something that's been really interesting for us to learn as we go along. I also have a 2.5-year-old, so it's been interesting to learn about foods and to help a 2-year-old learn what's great and exciting about food. I have a 2-year-old who eats tomatoes right off the vine and cannot even look at them in the grocery store, which is kind of exciting, but then it also maybe limits his food choices sometimes. So it's been fun.
All right, my name is Holly. I'm a student here, and I attended a workshop about 6 months ago about different kind of tactics and trying to get your kids to have healthy food and how they're really attracted to colors and different nutrients and how their tastes stay with them. So I was just curious to see what else is going on here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Marilee, and I am from San Diego. Graduated here in the Women's Studies Department, but I'm living in Houston now, Houston, Texas, and I'm here visit till about the middle of May.
Oh, cool.
Good to see you, Marilyn. Nice to see Marilyn. Wow. All right, so I'm gonna kind of start where I had thought I might start if I was more lecturing, and then we can just be very like discussion-y. And I wanted to start with what is food justice is kind of the question that the plenary ended with, and then whatever we come up with, just kind of the themes. Not that we're answering this question, but whatever questions that the concept of food justice raises, we can apply it to talking about food justice with pregnant women, young children, and infants. And then specifically, I'm going to use the example of artificial baby milk or infant formula and breastfeeding and the feeding of babies in general to really look at that topic. And looks like in the room we kind of have a variety of people who are like kind of right in the breastfeeding experience right now, or pregnant, or working with women who may become pregnant or someday, or just working on like kind of general health and making good food choices. So what is just some of the questions that, what is food justice? Like, what does it bring up? What is food justice? What is the conversation about? Just start throwing them out there.
Well, one of the things you said in here that the reason I walked into the room was because the advertising's shameful and predatory, and it really is. And
So questions about advertising.
And maybe that's related to our knowledge about what is good food, and that this, advertising is one of the things that we see and hear about it, and we have to, I think somebody was saying in the plenary, like, find out other information, really look for it to get other information.
Yes, our food knowledge.
Accessibility.
Accessibility. And when you say accessibility, what aspects of accessibility are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that certain places where you can get good quality produce is completely overpriced, and a lot of people don't know where you can get affordable produce.
Also, I think the not questioning the norms that, well, as a parent, everyone becomes a new parent, and you kind of look to your parents to tell you the answers for how to parent, and that's at least where you start with. And the norm for my generation was baby food, and something that came out of a jar. And so you don't really, people don't really question that. It's just that's the norm, and you keep following that. And it makes you almost think that feeding your baby fresh food was like impossible. And
But I just don't think of it, because it's just not an
but
idea.
it's just way too complicated,
Yeah,
and,
so
and
much
that's something, oh, you're really out there if like you produce it yourself.
And, much beyond producing your own baby food that's still called baby food, God forbid you actually just feed your child off your plate, right? Which is another step. It's not even, we're not even going to call it baby food in the home. We're just actually going to feed the kid food, right?
Well, in addition to the food that the school is providing for the teenagers, which is highly disturbing around that whole argument, they're also providing food for the babies and the toddlers in the nursery. And so like this whole institutionalized idea of what is healthy food and food groups, and that a chicken nugget can satisfy a protein requirement or something is...
And also the pushing on vulnerable people, like a new mother who wants to make, Shelley talked about, as a new mother, you want what's best, and you're very vulnerable because you want what's best, and it starts within the place you deliver or where you give birth. And so if somebody's pushing a formula at you, or take a few samples home, it says it's got all the ingredients, it's just like mother's milk.
Prop A. Not prop A like a proposition, but actually my prop A. So this is so in my work in a freestanding birth center or in a home birth, we do not provide